Every choice we make changes our fate. We all know the story of Kingdom Hearts, but we don't know the possible fates that hide behind the choices that never happened. Unknown skies and destinies that we can witness if we dare to ask the question, what if? A single moment of calm and focus can change the fate of a universe. In this timeline, Roxas isn't intimidated by the Guardian and dodges its grasp. If Sora in the first Kingdom Hearts could take down Ansem, then obviously this furious dual-wielding Roxas can take on a Riku who's mimicking those powers. When Riku falls, Roxas prepares to deliver a lethal strike, but strange images flash through his mind. A friendship between Riku and someone else, yet it feels familiar. Not really knowing why, Roxas shows mercy and enters the castle, while Riku curses his weakness. If Roxas dies, Sora will never awaken. In the castle, Sykes is the first to stand in his way. Just 3 days ago he was blocking his exit. Today, he's blocking his entry. Roxas doesn't even bother to talk and quickly defeats Sykes, who couldn't even beat him when he had only one Keyblade and was weakened by Xion. Once again, Sykes kneels, defeated, and Roxas walks past him only to discover that Axel had been watching the fight. Axel implores Roxas to stop. Destroying Kingdom Hearts will ruin everything they've done, and they'll lose their chance to have a heart forever. Roxas replies that he doesn't care about having a heart, only about fulfilling Xion's last wish. Axel responds, Xion? Who? He's already starting to forget her. His head hurts. Then, an explosion of blue flames surprises these old friends. They turn to see Riku has finished off Sykes with a dark Firaga. Axel ignites his chakrams. Riku summons his Soul Eater, but Roxas steps between them. Despite everything, he considers them both his friends, one from himself, the other from his other self, and he doesn't want either of them to get hurt. Riku says he won't attack Roxas, he's proven to be powerless to stop him, but he won't show the same mercy to Organization XIII, especially if they go after Roxas, since his death means eternal sleep for Sora. Axel, confused and angry, recalling his old teenage friendship with Sykes and their tense confrontations in recent months, summons a dark portal and teleports to an unknown location. Roxas moves forward, with Riku following closely behind. Most organization members try to attack this curious duo and fall: Zaldin, Xigbar, and Luxord. When Roxas runs into Demyx, they both hesitate to attack. In the end, Demyx decides not to fight someone he has no quarrel with, but asks Roxas that if any hearts emerge from Kingdom Hearts, he should at least have the decency to send him one. During this ascent, we see where Axel went. Just like Roxas, not knowing where to go, he's drawn to the clock tower. There, he thinks about his true lives and what he has lost in them. Sykes, the only thing that remained of his human life as Lee, has disappeared. Without him, he'll never find out what happened to that girl in the basement of Raiden Garden. Now there's Roxas, Xemnas, and the desire to have a heart again. Whoever wins, Axel will lose something, either his friend or the return of his heart. Axel clenches his fist. The pain of the one he cannot remember inspires him. He's been fighting and lying for months, but he still has the strength for one last attempt to keep this impossible friendship alive. Roxas and Riku reach Xemnas. At first, everything unfolds just as it did with Sora. Xemnas takes Roxas to fight one-on-one without interference, only to be quickly defeated. So Xemnas resorts to absorbing all the hearts in Kingdom Hearts. Although the circumstances are very different, Final Xemnas will probably have the same power as in Kingdom Hearts 2. In that story, Xemnas absorbs an almost complete Kingdom Hearts, but one that Ansem the Wise has opened a hole in. Here, Xemnas absorbs an incomplete Kingdom Hearts, lacking all the hearts Sora will release during that installment, including those from the battle against the Thousand Heartless. So eventually, the duo ends up facing Final Xemnas. But this time, even though Roxas has power comparable to Sora's, and Riku can draw on Ansem's powers, they aren't in sync like Sora and Riku would. Xemnas begins to gain the upper hand. The battle gradually seems more and more impossible. At a critical moment, Riku blocks a blow that would have killed Roxas, surprised to see a Keyblade appear in his hand. Remember that in Kingdom Hearts 2, Riku obtains his Keyblade off-screen sometime between his battle against Roxas and when he appears to save Kairi and Namine from Sykes. What better moment for his awakening than when he protects his best friend no matter what might happen to himself. But even so, they can't overcome the chasm before them. Riku falls and Roxas is too weak. Then, A chakram interrupts the fight. Axel joins Roxas. Kingdom Hearts is lost, but he can still save his friend. The power gap between Axel and Xemnas is abysmal, something that becomes obvious after just a few seconds of combat. 2 miracles later, it still looks like Xemnas is going to get away with it. A badly wounded Axel looks at an exhausted Roxas and says, "I can take this, spunk. Watch this!" He leaps towards Xemnas and detonates in a powerful explosion. When the fire dissipates, Axel lies dying on the ground, Xemnas clutching his chest, both fading away. Before he can recover, Roxas reacts and furiously attacks Xemnas, defeating him once and for all and fulfilling the last request of... who? Roxas runs to Axel, who confesses that those sunsets at the clock tower were the only time in a decade he felt like he had a heart, and thanks him for ending his long unpleasant spying before fading into nothing. After a long pause, Roxas instinctively opens a dark portal without knowing what lies on the other side, only to find himself back in the clock tower. After the great battle, he finally has time to process everything that has happened, although this only makes him even sadder. He did it! He freed Kingdom Hearts, avenged himself against his oppressors, but he lost Axel. He fulfilled the last request of someone. Why can't he remember who? Just a day ago, she was clinging to his memory, but now she's little more than a mirage. Roxas stands, gazing at the sunset and the height at which he finds himself for what seems like days, trying to figure out what to do now, what he has left, but the answer is nothing. He has lost everything he loved. Roxas lifts one foot and threatens to let himself fall, when suddenly arms grab him, pulling him to safety. Hainer, Pence, and Olette recognize that kid who had once broken a record in their ball game. They noticed something strange and went up to make sure he was okay. When they ask, "Are you okay?" Roxas bursts into tears. Several days later, Roxas is getting used to what is supposed to be a normal life. Hainer, Pence, and Olette have helped him dress in something other than a cultist's cloak and appear normal, but Roxas spends most of his days wandering around Twilight Town and some of the worlds he used to visit. He doesn't know why he does it, perhaps to try to remember his friends walking through the places where they carried out missions together. One day, Riku and a girl in a white dress appear before him. Roxas almost draws his Keyblades, but he notices they have no intention of attacking. Riku and the girl, Namine, explain that ever since that fateful day they've been trying to figure out how to wake Sora without attacking Roxas. Mickey might be able to defeat him, especially if he teams up with Riku, but Mickey refuses to attack someone who is relatively innocent. And with this missing since the fall of Organization XIII, Mickey, Riku, and Namine worked hard to find another way. Namine could see that what Sora needs to awaken isn't Roxas' essence, but his memories, which now reside within Roxas as a result of trying to repair the damage of Castle Oblivion without taking his nobody into account. But Sora's memories are chained to the memories Roxas has created throughout his life. You can't have one without the other. To return Sora's memories, Roxas would have to forget his entire life. Riku scowls as Namine explains this. He finds it impossible for someone to let go of their entire life. Roxas thinks and accepts. To Riku's surprise, he says that almost all of his memories are painful, whether it's recalling his ignored enslavement under the organization or remembering his lost friend. No, his lost friends. Even now, there's a forgotten presence that still causes him pain. What does it matter if you forget the rest? He's already forgotten what mattered most. With his consent, Sora, Donald, and Goofy wake up a few days later. Unlike during Kingdom Hearts 2, Mickey doesn't have to hide from the organization, so he's there to give Sora a half explanation of what happened. He doesn't tell him anything about Roxas or Namine, only that Mickey and Riku defeated a sinister organization that had tried to manipulate his memories, and that he had to sleep for a year to recover. When Sora asks where Riku is, Mickey says that after defeating the organization, Riku has left for good. Riku forced Mickey to promise that he would only say this, ashamed of his appearance. Sora realizes that Mickey isn't telling him everything and tries to force him to talk. When Mickey doesn't give in, Sora threatens to go from world to world, searching for Riku forever if necessary. Donald and Goofy also threaten to accompany Sora, refusing to abandon him after the events at Hollow Bastion. As they leave Twilight Town, they run into a young man with blonde hair. Sora and this young man lock eyes, noticing a kind of connection between them, but they ignore it. This young man, named Roxas, continues with his life. Namine has given him a false life through false memories. He believes he's a normal teenager living with his friends in Twilight Town. Namine, now free from this, inserts herself into this lie as Roxas' childhood friend. Sora, Donald, and Goofy carry out their threat and begin traveling to other worlds. Mickey speaks with Riku, who is trying to live in the Twilight Town mansion, and insists that hiding from Sora won't solve anything. Eventually, if only so Kairi won't be left alone in Destiny Islands, Riku gives in and reveals his new aspect to Sora. Frightened by his reaction, he is relieved when Sora merely expresses happiness. The trio reunites in Destiny Islands and finally happily live together, even though their friend now looks different. But we all know this isn't the end. The events of Recoded happen as normal. In the secret ending, Yensid explains that Master Xehanort will return, but this time he insists that Sora, Riku, and Roxas be brought before him for the Mark of Mastery exam. Mickey tries to reject the idea, but Yensid explains that Xehanort may seek allies and will undoubtedly go after the Keyblade wielder who destroyed Organization XIII and looks just like his former student. They must bring him over to their side before Xehanort does. Riku, Mickey, and Yensid concoct a logical lie for Sora and Roxas. Roxas discovered he could wield the Keyblade the first time he saw a Heartless, with the Kingdom Key appearing in his hand and urging him to fight the darkness. Yensid says he noticed the presence of a new Keyblade wielder. Perhaps the gift was bestowed upon him to balance the scales between light and darkness in the face of Master Xehanort's return. Roxas, eager to protect his friends, accepts the test, though he's hesitant, having fought only mere shadows for days while Sora and Riku have been at it for months and have faced terrifying enemies. Sora reassures and encourages him, claiming that Riku and him will forget their abilities during the exam, so they'll be on equal footing. Roxas cheers up in Sora's presence. For some reason, the two instinctively act like brothers, while he notices an odd coldness from Riku. When the three of them begin the exam, as in Dream Drop, Riku becomes a spirit to protect Sora from the nightmares, but this time, Sora doesn't fight alone. While Riku's plot progresses more or less the same, including regaining his original body since he's in the past, Sora now has Roxas by his side. They travel together, but now the Organization XIII stunts are focused on Roxas and his false memories, making him doubt himself no matter how much Sora tries to protect and encourage him. When the 7 sleeping keyholes are closed, the trio arrives in the world that never was, just like in the original game. Riku is left alone to explore the castle. Xigbar and young Xehanort ambush Sora and Roxas, driving Sora away from his companion and putting Roxas to sleep. In this timeline, Xehanort wants Roxas to be his 13th, the 13th of the Seekers of Darkness, just as he was the 13th member of Organization XIII. Holy shit, there were so many 13s in that sentence! Just as Sora saw visions in his dream, Roxas sees visions of a red-haired boy, watches his clothes change as two young Keyblade wielders he's never seen before appear, yet they feel familiar. And worst of all, a black-haired girl whose name he can't recall, but whose presence causes him great pain. After shedding a tear, his key turns into Oblivion, a symbol of his lack of knowledge of his own memories. Roxas falls into the same mistake as his other self, plunging into the abyss of dreams, and although he defeats Xemnas, he falls into a deep sleep. Sora finds the sleeping Roxas and battles a terrible nightmare, while Riku faces Ansem. After his victory, he emerges from Sora's dreams and the two meet, fighting together for the first time in this timeline. They face young Xehanort together, and after Master Xehanort reveals the truth about Roxas to Sora, they rescue him alongside Axel, Mickey, Donald, and Goofy. Upon returning to the mysterious tower, everyone is surprised to see that Riku, after conquering the 7 sleeping keyholes and defeating Ansem, has regained his original body. The joy ends quickly. Sora confronts Riku, Mickey, and Yensid about how they manipulated Roxas, forgiving them only because they didn't do it out of malice, but to awaken him. Yensid explains that the power of waking will be necessary to awaken Roxas, so Sora volunteers. Since Roxas is his nobody, Sora is the most likely to succeed. Sora enters Roxas' nightmare, facing a mysterious armored figure. After defeating her, he plunges even deeper into Roxas' heart, appearing in the Twilight Town Tower alongside a girl who asks him 3 questions that awaken Roxas. Unlike the happy ending of Dream Drop Distance, here Roxas turns on everyone except Sora, Donald, and Goofy. He demands answers about his past, and Riku is forced to recount everything that has happened so far, while Axel tries to remind him of his time as a member of Organization XIII. But Roxas is reluctant to believe them, since according to Axel, they never met that black-haired girl who has been haunting him from his forgotten memories. Confused and furious, Roxas leaves the tower, managing to open a dark portal. Axel leaves, vowing that he will bring him back. Meanwhile, Yensid announces the exam results. All three succeeded in the initial goal of sealing the 7 sleeping keyholes, but only one dove back into the dream world to save a friend. Sora is the new Keyblade Master. It's funny how changing just one moment can cause so many differences in the plot. Roxas meditates in the clock tower. He always felt drawn to this place, which makes sense now that he knows he used to eat ice cream with Axel after every mission, if that's true. The voice of a blue-haired man surprises him. Sykes, now a familiar stranger to Roxas, both encourages and insults him at the same time, mocking the cruel fate of not being able to trust even yourself, yet emphasizing that there is still someone he can trust, his other self. Sora, the one who benefited from everything they've done to Roxas, is the one who never harmed him. In fact, he saved him and he should honor the Keyblade wielder. This man hands him a sea salt ice cream which for some reason calms Roxas. Sykes leaves as quickly as he appeared. When Axel arrives at the tower shortly afterwards, Roxas agrees to join the group as one of the 7 Guardians of Light, even if it's only to remember the truth by facing Xehanort and the 13 Seekers of Darkness. The secret ending of Dream Drop Distance changes. This time, Riku doesn't bring Kairi before Yensid. After all, since Kingdom Hearts 2 didn't happen, she hasn't manifested a Keyblade. This time, since the lie is revealed, Riku brings Namine. With our group complete, the events of Kingdom Hearts 3 begin, with each character setting off on a different mission. Yensid allows Mickey to tell them about Aqua. He, along with Sora, Riku, Donald and Goofy, will go to the Realm of Darkness to rescue her. Axel will train with his new Keyblade under Merlin, while Namine will stay with Yensid, honing her witchcraft over memories. Roxas, who has lost much of his power after nearly being possessed by Xehanort, will use his dark portal to visit the Olympus Coliseum, where, according to Axel, he was trained by Phil. Roxas goes not only to grow stronger, but also to perhaps recover his memories by meeting people from his past again. So, until Sora finds and defeats Anti-Aqua, Roxas helps Hercules defeat Hades and the Titans, and spends some of his time training with him under Phil's tutelage. There's no way that's how this word is pronounced. Once he reaches a level he's satisfied with, Roxas travels to other worlds, those Axel told him about and some new ones. He has adventures, none of them very special except for a strange factory full of monsters, where a helmeted young man tried to absorb his heart, calling him brother. After rescuing Aqua, her and Sora awaken Ventus. With the two of them, there are now 7 Guardians of Light, with Roxas replacing Kairi from the original story. Before they go, Namine informs them that she can sense a powerful will emanating from Terra, but it's too faint to have a conversation with him, let alone help him. However, once they're all there, she'll try to bring him back to his friends. So, when Terranort threatens to strike Ventus, the lingering will stops the attack. Yes, the story has changed so much that the Guardians of Light don't die and Sora never gets to use the power of waking to revive them. For Kingdom Hearts 3, this doesn't affect the story much, but for Kingdom Hearts 4, it will completely change the course of the plot. The Guardians of Light face off against the Seekers of Darkness. Roxas joins Axel to face Xemnas, Sykes, and a hooded girl. Both her and Roxas suffer headaches during the fight. Sora joins in as Roxas and the girl cross blades. Upon hearing her voice and seeing her eyes, Roxas suddenly blurts out a name. Xion. Suddenly, without knowing how or why, he knows what to do. As Xion cries and clutches her head, Roxas hugs her and shouts at Sora to use the power of waking. Sora fires a beam of light at both, enveloping them in a blinding light. When it fades, Axel is surprised, suddenly remembering his friend. Roxas' demeanor changes completely, and he surprises Xemnas when he summons 2 Keyblades. Through the power of waking, not just Xion has recovered her memories, Roxas has recovered all his memories and all his power. Sora, Roxas, Xion, and Axel fight Xemnas and Sykes. In this battle, Axel isn't badly wounded, nor is Sora tired, not to mention there's no Kairi to kidnap. Xemnas flees as Sykes is defeated. Roxas stays with Xion and Axel, crying during their reunion, just like in the original game, while Sora climbs the Tower of Endings. Sora, Riku, and Mickey fight against Ansem, Xemnas, Young Xehanort, and Master Xehanort. When only the Master remains standing, the 3 heroes declare that they won't attack him, interrupting the war and putting an end to his plans. But then, Xehanort attacks Sora with all his Keyblades. Riku reacts and blocks the attack. However, This allows Xehanort to forge the Keyblade. From here on, everything unfolds as in the original game. Sora, Donald, and Goofy use the power of waking to fight Xehanort, while the other warriors face the replicas. The Guardians emerge victorious and each one returns to their respective homes, often reuniting in Destiny Islands. For now, this is the end of this What If, but when Kingdom Hearts comes out, we'll have to see how these events will differ from the original plot. Sora doesn't use the power of waking, neither to save the Guardians nor to save Kairi. They don't know the Nameless Star or Yozora, and of course, nobody goes to Shibuya or Quadratum. I hope you enjoyed this What If. I certainly had a lot of fun doing it. What would you change of this story? And what other What Ifs would you like to see? Tell me in the comments, and see you all next time.